This is the President McCormack Podcast with your host, Mark McCormack.
Ladies and gentlemen, Joshua Sherwood. Is that your full name, Joshua?
Yeah.
What's your middle name?
Windsor.
Windsor?
Well, it's royalty.
What the?
You have no idea, probably, that I'm royalty.
I'm not even sure if you're telling the truth or not.
Dead serious. It's from England.
Is it?
Yeah.
What lineage did you go back to?
I don't know. I just know it's from England. That's all I know. So I just tell people it's royalty.
Was that your mom's idea or your dad's?
My mom's maiden name. It's my mom's maiden name.
So
Windsor.
my middle name is my mom's maiden name.
Really?
Yeah, we're basically twins.
Totally.
That's cool. Are your parents from England?
No. Descendants.
Like way back?
Yeah. But no, it's been a few years.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And you're from Arizona?
Arizona. Phoenix area, Gilbert, actually.
Your whole life?
Yeah. Grew up in Chandler, and then we're in Gilbert right now.
And what hospital were you born in?
Mesa Regional, I think.
Mesa Regional.
Yeah.
Very cool. How much did you weigh?
I have no idea.
You don't know?
I was average, I think. I don't know.
Let's go 8.5 pounds.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, 19 inches long. Like the rest of them.
Yep.
Can you guess how much I weighed?
You were probably a big ass baby.
I was bigger.
Yeah. 9? Were you in the 9s?
No.
What were you? 8? Higher?
Oh, yeah.
10s?
11.5.
Damn.
Yeah, my mom got an award.
Your poor mom. Your poor mom.
Yeah. Yeah, I was 3 weeks overdue.
Oh.
So I might have came out at like 10:10 or something, you know, if I wasn't baking for another 3 weeks. So Josh, tell the world how you know me.
Oh, I know Mark. I know you, Mark. We met at the We Are the They, which is Jimmy Rex's coaching group that I joined. What was it? Moab was the first one?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Met you at Moab, and you're just a beast of a man. I was like, holy shit, who's this guy? And your personality matched your body.
Oh, good.
Sure. Yeah,
Good.
it does. It does. And so that's how we met.
Yeah, what were your first impressions? Like when you saw me walk in the room, you were like, tall dude.
Tall. I think
No
I slapped
abs.
your ass. You were walking up the stairs.
Oh, did you?
I slapped your ass. Because I basically slap every guy's ass just to see if I know I'm going to vibe with them or not. If they react, depending on how they react, is okay, I can vibe with this guy or not. And you just, dude, you didn't even skip a beat. You're just like, oh, that was nice. And you just kept walking up the stairs. I was like, all right, this guy's cool.
I'm on a mission. Where's my bed?
Yeah, give me a bed, please.
That's one thing we got to do in our group, right? We always got to have a bed ready for us.
Yeah, we got to fight for beds. That's what I tell my wife. I said, I got to get early to these events so I can get a damn bed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, in Iceland, you were in like the bunks, right?
Oh, yeah.
How bad was that?
Yeah. It wasn't horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, you don't go on these things to sleep. There's no sleep. There's no sleep. You're just there to experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, Iceland was a cool trip because I was like, it was all guys, but it was just for fun. You know, we weren't like crying or anything or sharing feelings.
We weren't getting all vulnerable with each other.
Yeah. We were just seeing pretty things and being cold and swimming. What was your favorite part of Iceland?
I think just the beauty of the landscape, the waterfalls, the rolling hills, the little sheep, goat, cow thingies on the mountains. I think that was like just the driving was one of the coolest parts for me.
Yeah.
And then the cold plunge was crazy in the ocean with the glaciers, those ice glaciers sitting on the beach. That was really cool. Yeah. It was, I mean, it's almost like a blur because it went by so fast. But then you stayed for a few days after, right?
Yeah, so Michelle came the day you guys all left, and then we stayed there for 5 more days.
See, that would have been nice to slow down a little, and then just, how was that? Was that nice?
It was really nice. Yeah, I rented a cabin on a lake, and so I actually thought a lot of dudes were going to bring their wives, and so I was kind of waiting for dudes to be like, "Where were we sleeping?" Blah 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 blah. Because I had a 5-bedroom cabin.
Really?
Yeah.
And it was just you and your wife?
Yeah, the whole time.
That's kind of nice, though.
See, and I was irate that I couldn't get a good breakfast sandwich in that country. I wanted a good roll with an egg and some sausage and bacon.
Some meats.
Yeah, so when Michelle got there, I went to Costco and bought all the stuff for that, and then we made that every morning.
Oh, sometimes it's the comforts of home.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
But it was kind of fun because the cabin had that like heating in the floor.
Really?
And so
like the floor was warm when you would walk on it?
the floor was warm, so like the ambient kind of like
that's cool
heat coming from the floor. It was really nice, yeah. So they had a sauna. We got the sauna there. It's hot.
You're not messing around when you go all in.
I tried. So, what did you think about the snorkeling we did?
Oh, I told you, you know that story. My wetsuit or dry suit that's supposedly watertight was not watertight. So I took on all this water and I didn't even realize. I just started getting cold.
Are you soaking wet?
Oh, drenched. And I had my full sweater, pants, jeans, and I go to unzip that thing and water just starts gushing out. I was like, no wonder I was freezing.
Where did it come from?
I don't know. Just like, where if the seal's on your wrist or your neck. Because I think I was like turning my neck too much. You're supposed to not move your neck. Otherwise it like breaks the seal, I guess.
Yeah.
And so, I froze my ass off, but it was super cool. But I thought I was going to suffocate too with that neck thing, with the dry suit. Yeah. I don't know. Was I the only guy who was like, dude, this thing was like choking me.
Oh, dude, were you getting dressed with me?
I don't think we were in different groups.
We were in different groups. Yeah. Okay. No, dude, Jed Elton was in my group because we're both fair-skinned brothers. And, to kind of set the tone, it takes like 40 minutes to put this freaking suit on.
Oh, I know.
It's like clothes and then like a layer and then like the actual wet or dry suit.
And dude, and obviously you're a bigger guy.
Yeah.
I'm being a big guy too. I was just like, I couldn't hardly get in the damn thing. They had to call in the fucking troops and everyone to come help me get my suit on. So I got guys helping me put the damn suit on to start. And then they pulled this damn thing over my neck. And I was like, dude, I can't breathe. And then I stood like that. We were at the end of the line to get in the water. Oh, yeah. So I was like literally this close to like bailing. I was like, dude, I can't breathe. I was almost having like a panic attack or something.
No, exactly. See,
seriously.
We get the whole thing on and then I'm sitting there and I'm like, do I need to pee? Do I need to pee? Crap, do I need to pee? Will I need to pee? I don't want to pee.
No, it's the one thing you can't pee in, those suits.
Oh, it would take another 45 minutes, dude. Can you imagine taking that whole thing off? Those
I wouldn't have put it back on. I would have bailed. What are you doing? I would have just bailed.
Oh, yeah. And then, so they like cinch a freaking Velcro strap around her neck. What was it?
I don't know, but it choked me.
Nylon.
Yeah.
Oh, it choked the shit out of me.
Yeah.
And Jed Elton. I looked at Jed, I'm like, dude, can you breathe? His face was purple. And he goes, do I look like you? I'm like, what do you mean? I went to a car mirror. I was just as purple as he was. They adjusted mine 3 times.
Yeah.
And still when I was in the water, it was like,
I couldn't get out of that thing fast enough. I mean, it was cool while we were in there.
Did you hear about me panicking when I was in the water?
I believe I could see that. Yeah. Did you really?
Oh yeah. I was like kind of coming around like this and I sucked some water in the top of the thing and I just started freaking out like so bad. And then I like calmed myself down and I like looked around and no one was looking at me because everyone was in the water and I just kind of like went back in the water. And then, they're like, oh, go in the bay over here and swim around and explore.
No, I went straight to the stairs. Yeah. I did. I straight to get out. But it was cool.
It was weirdly cool.
Like, I'm glad I did it. But I was like, dang, get me out of this suit.
Supposedly the clearest water in the world. Is what they said.
Yeah. It was. I mean, it was cool.
I also thought it was funny, too. They keep our, like, lips exposed. It's something else, right? Like our nose?
I can't remember. Well, you have your snorkel gear, remember?
I think it was just the lips. And the guy's like, okay, you get in here in 5 seconds, your lips will go numb. And I'm like, this is the plan? My face has to go numb for this. So that was really funny.
It was. That was a good trip, man.
What else did you like over there? Did you like the waterfalls?
Yeah. Yeah, I liked the waterfalls. The glacier was that was cool, going inside that glacier.
I like the glacier.
That was, again, it was things I've never done before.
I actually liked walking up to it more than anything.
Yeah, the hike, huh?
I felt like we were on a movie set.
Or on the moon. Yeah. There wasn't a plant.
Yeah.
There wasn't a tree. It was literally like rocks.
Yeah.
Black rocks, and then just nothing else.
Well, did you hear that Interstellar was filmed there?
Was it really?
Yeah.
Like in that area that we were?
Like exactly where we were going through.
That's pretty cool.
Like our guide, the guy that we were with, was telling us that, right? Mm. He's like, I think he said like 10 movies have been filmed there because it's just volcanic rock that came up out of the ground, and then a glacier sat on it for 2 million years. Yeah, so there's not a seed, there's not a bird. Like it's wild.
You know what they were saying, that every year that glacier moves away from, so that hike every year gets like 12 feet longer.
Oh.
And so I think the one lady said she's been doing it 10 years, and she said the hike used to be like 15 minutes, and now it's like 45 minutes or something.
Oh, nice.
Over 10 years because that glacier keeps, which is crazy because it looks like a mountain and it's just ice.
Yeah. Well, it's funny too because my guy, someone was like, because he's like a nature guy or whatever you want to call it, and he's from South Africa maybe. And one guy in our group goes, "What do you think about global or climate change?" He goes, you mean global warming? And we're like, yeah, sure. And he goes, it's bullshit. He goes, this one shrinks here, this one grows, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting.
Let's talk to some people that maybe live there and see what goes on.
Yeah. But no, I mean, going inside the glacier was wild. You went all the way back, right?
Oh, yeah.
I did not.
Well, you couldn't fit.
No.
Luckily, I'm shorter than you.
Yeah. Oh, dudes were like,
I could see you trying to like get in there with your head cocked or something.
Yeah, I was like, no, thank you. I didn't want to get wet either. It was just like water all over the place.
It was just coming down from the eyes. It was really cool. It was beautiful.
You saw Nick, right?
Oh yeah, with his dinosaur.
He told me that a couple of weeks before we went. He's like, I'm bringing this dinosaur suit. It'd be so cool.
It was good.
It was good.
Because it just out of nowhere, you're like, what the? In that dinosaur
he's just like
outfit. It was good.
Yeah, that was really fun. No, it was kind of fun, like seeing all of our friends there, right? Like when we all showed up. Because were you in the group that flew out early?
Mm-mm.
When did you get there?
I got there the morning. Me and my boy Dan.
Oh, you came with Blankenship? Shut your mouth.
Well, we just happened to be on the same flight.
Yeah.
And so we were there about an hour early to the airport. Our flight arrived, so we were just chilling.
Nice.
And that's the first time I met Big Dan. He's so good.
I freaking love him.
He's so awesome, man.
He posted a picture yesterday with somebody, and he's just, it's when they did the shirtless hike.
Oh, yeah.
I think he was with Jed Elton and somebody else. And dude, that freaking smile he has in his face. He just lives his life.
He does, dude. He's a fun guy to be around.
Yeah,
you just want to be around him.
I remember the club we went to that first night.
I didn't go.
Oh, you freaking...
No, because remember, we went to the Northern Lights we were the only people to actually see Northern Lights from the boat. Because we went on the boat the first night.
Oh,
There was a handful of us, like 5 or 6 of us.
Oh.
Dan was with me.
No, Dan was at the club.
No, he was on the boat. Unless the club was after the boat.
Club came in after. We didn't go to the club till like midnight.
Oh, so yeah, Dan was on the boat.
I'm pretty sure I saw you when we first got there. We didn't land until like 10:30. Yeah. And then Jimmy came over with a couple other guys, picked us up in the vans and took us to the hostel.
Okay.
So
then you guys went and bounced straight to the club.
Yeah. Well, someone just goes, I mean, we're pretty energized, right? You can see everybody.
You are.
Cool. And then we were heading over to the other Airbnb because they didn't have beds for us.
Yeah.
And so the Airbnb was like a 10-minute walk from this club, and everyone's like, let's go. I'm like, great. Let's go. I mean, we're 7 hours ahead of here or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, let's rock.
It was cool.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
So another place that's not cold, Arizona.
Yep.
What keeps you in Arizona?
Everything. Arizona's awesome, man. I mean, Utah's okay, but Arizona's the place to be.
The older I get, the more Arizona sounds great.
It is great.
Yeah.
It's, it gets hot like 3 months out of the year. Build a pool, you're fine.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's just, we're outside, outdoor living. It's all, it's just, there's tons of people moving there. The economy is always pretty good. Mm-hmm. A lot of growth. Good place to raise a family. Anyway, we love it. Me and my wife are from Arizona, so we're kind of partial, obviously, because we're born and raised there.
Well, no, and then you guys, you travel a lot?
Yeah.
Generally?
We try to. Yeah, we try to. We try to, 3-4 times a year, even if it's just to Mexico for like a long weekend or...
Yeah.
And now with WA, obviously, there's all sorts of trips with the group we're in, but we try to make time for us and take the kids on a few of them, but leave them home on most of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Do you guys go to Rocky Point?
Yeah, we do. We haven't been for a minute. During COVID, it kind of got a little iffy down there. So we didn't go, but we used to go once or twice a year.
Because that was 3 hours?
Yeah, it's 3.5, I think, 4. And the water there, the nice thing there is the water's warm. So, San Diego, California, the beach water, it's cold. But in Rocky Point, they don't really have waves, but the water is warm. So the kids love it.
Yeah.
And you can rent a little condo or something at one of the places and it's cheap and kids love it.
The beaches are nice?
Yeah, nice beach.
Cool.
Yep. And then you can buy from all the vendors walking, trying to sell you stuff.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's cool.
Chiclets?
Yeah. Chiclets, and they'll braid the hair. Our daughters get their hair braided in the little...
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, it's cool.
Very cool. So you're known in our group for making really cool pools.
Really?
What do you mean?
Good.
You didn't know that?
Yeah. I started, so I went on my mission, and when I got off my mission, I was still doing rodeo at the time. And I was a team roper, and I was working for a guy, helping him, like giving him lessons. And then he owned some restaurants, some It was called Pete's Fish and Chips. And so I worked for him, worked at the restaurant, and then I worked helping him with the rodeo. And that was like my first job. And after a while, the rodeo thing, I realized I couldn't make any money doing that. And you'd have to be gone all the time. And so I basically just quit cold turkey. And my dad owned a sod farm at the time. So I started on the weekends laying sod for my dad, installing sod. And that started to get busy. So then I started to like hire a couple guys to help. And so it would be me, 2 or 3 guys on the weekends. And then that turned into, okay, it's getting busy. And so, my dad was just subcontracting me out to do the work. So he would pay me a flat fee per job. So as he started getting more jobs, and I would just, hire more guys. And so at one point I quit rodeo altogether. I quit the guy that giving him lessons and working at that Pete's Fish and Chips, and just went all in on laying sod. That's what I thought I wanted to do, is lay sod. So we would show up to the job, and all we would do is take the sod, install it, and leave. That was all we had to worry about. And so that got busy. And I went from, I went from me in the truck to then me and like a couple guys to me and 5 guys. And that was like a full crew, me and then 5 guys in the truck. And I'd go pick them up every morning. We'd do our 10 hours a day, and then I'd drop them off. And then it got to where we were busy enough, and then I bought another truck for another driver. And then, so we started 2 crews doing that. And then it just naturally, organically, or by organically, I mean years of dedication and hard work. It just morphed, and I went and got my license to be a landscape contractor. And then, we went from 5 guys to 10 guys to 20 guys to 30 guys. And then I got my license to build swimming pools. And then that also ramped up. And then,
so on the swimming pools, you have to get trained?
Yeah. So we worked for contractors that built pools. All right. So you have to work under somebody that's licensed for like 7 years. Like, it's hard.
Oh, wow.
To get your swimming pool license, it's hard. It's harder. Like, I got my GC after that, my general contractor's license. That was easier than getting my pool contractor's license for whatever reason.
Is it just because there's so much that can go wrong with the pool?
I think so. And like, I mean, pools are so expensive if you do them wrong, like to fix, like if you have to rip out something, or and it's for protection, for people, right? If you're hiring someone, you want to make sure they know what they're doing. Yeah. And so it makes sense. But that was a hard license. My landscape license, I studied for like 2 days, went and got it. Yeah. But a couple of funny stories when I first started. So I started laying sod, right? I told you. And I had a couple guys, and a neighbor comes out. We were working on a house, and a neighbor walks out and says, "Hey, you guys do landscaping?" And I'm like, at the time we were just laying sod. That was it. I'm like, yeah. Me, I said yes to everything. Yeah. And then I figured it out. So I was like, yeah, what do you need? Oh, I want sprinklers. And we've never done sprinklers, never planted any bushes or trees or anything. And this is like 2003, maybe 2004. And he's like, and I need this valve. It's called a backflow valve, and it has to be soldered on. So, most sprinkler stuff's PVC, so you can glue it, cut it really easy. Yeah. Soldering, that's a different thing, right? You kind of got to know how to do that. Yeah. So I tell the guy yes. I give him a price, which I had no idea how much to charge. So I'm pretty sure I lost money on that first job just because I didn't know what I was doing. Yeah. Especially, so I get this valve that he wanted soldered on, and it's a valve that goes on the side of the house, and all your irrigation lines run off of that valve, but that valve has to be soldered on. I didn't know how to solder, not even a little bit. Well, it turns out, lucky enough, I'm walking in Home Depot to buy some shit, and on the door of Home Depot, it's like there's a sign, and it says, "Learn how to solder, a free class on Saturday from Home Depot."
Nice.
So I'm like, well, shit, can't be that hard. So that's what I do. I go to this class, and I didn't even stay for the whole thing. I was like, shit, this is easy. He did a test trial. You stuff some bread into a pipe to like get all the moisture out. I was like, oh, this is so easy. So I bounce after like probably an hour. I bounce because I got this. So I go to this guy's house. We start this job. This is the first real landscape job I ever got. I go to solder this valve on, and I'm like, yeah, I got it. Good. And it didn't leak, nothing. So we start doing the sprinklers. Again, I had a guy that worked for me that kind of knew how to do sprinklers. So we kind of knew that part of it. So we run the line, I get the valve on, we run all the sprinklers, everything's good. Well, I get a call from this homeowner. The valve had blown off in the middle of the night. Now, this valve is hard plumbed. So there's no off switch unless you turn the meter off at the street.
Right.
And because it blew off in the middle of the night, no one knew that it was leaking. So it had ran full pressure, open valve, ran and flooded. Luckily it didn't get it into anyone's house, but flooded his yard and then 2 houses on each side of his yard, completely flooded. And I mean, this guy was so mad at me, right? So furious. So I learned a good lesson that day. If you don't know how to do something, hire someone that does know how to do it. And that was kind of my philosophy as I started my business is, if you don't know how to do something, you're not good at something, hire someone that knows how to do it and do it right. Because then I had to hire a plumber. It cost me, I don't know, $500 to then go redo the valve, do it right. Right. And I'm like, all right, that's never going to happen. I'm not going to try to do something that I don't know how to do anymore. Yeah. So I went out and found a guy that knew how to do that. I hired a guy that could do all the different phases of what landscaping entails. And that's how we kind of started. Is the business side I learned. I understood the business. I liked the business. I was good at the sales side, but I needed people, good employees that knew how to actually execute and do the soldering, do the sprinklers, lay the sod, plant. And so over the years, we just morphed, you know, I would just hire the right guys to come in. And luckily for my mission, I knew Spanish. And so all the guys in Phoenix, most of the best workers are Mexican guys. And they're awesome and they're hard workers and they're good tradesmen. And so because I knew Spanish also, that really helped as I went to hire and build a network, this group of guys that some of them still work for me today. Like, yeah. I mean, I think one guy, I think, has been with me almost 18 years. One of the guys that started with us originally when it was just me and him. So another funny story, though, is when this is the best one, is I came to my wife early. I said, honey, I'm going to start doing landscaping. She's like, what are you talking about? I was like, yeah, I'm going to start doing landscaping. We were broke, obviously. So she's with me. We go to Home Depot. And I buy a wheelbarrow, I buy a shovel, and I think a broom, maybe a rake. And that's all I needed to start this business, right? It was $163, something like that. Of course, we didn't have $100, so I charged it. You know, I put it on the credit card. And my wife's just like, we were scared to death. Like, what are we doing? Thinking how much money, $163 to buy these things. And I'm just like, I don't know, we'll figure it out. And really, that's what we did. But it was. Think of how daunting. We were just newly married, no money, you know. And I'm just like, I think I'm going to do this. And we had to put it on a credit card. But it was one of the best decisions I ever made. Just mostly because of it. It was demanded that I learn, right? Like you had to. There was no choice to not learn. Otherwise, you fail. And so. And I started my business, I was pretty lucky with the timing of it because it was 2002, 2003. And as you know, like 2005, 2006 was just booming. Mm-hmm. And so the timing was really nice. And so that's how I started, really. And
so how much do you have in equipment now?
We have about 80 employees right now. We have a lot of administrative staff that handle most like permits because we do a lot of we have to permit stuff, you know, with the business, you know, the home business that now I've been doing for the last 7-8 years, spec homes. So we have to have a lot of administrative in an office that manage the jobs and things like that. And then we got about, I don't know, 60 field guys out in the field that work. And so it's been really fun. I mean, it's really fun to like take a blank backyard and build a badass pool, and landscape it and barbecue and fire pit and just like go from dirt to like something amazing. Yeah. That part of it's really fun. And I've met some really cool people along the way, like just meeting people and different walks of life and just be open to learning from all these people that I meet. And I truly feel like anytime I meet someone or sit in front of them and I'm trying to sell them a job, like there's something to be learned, right, from everybody. And I try to. That's one of the fun parts of love doing what I do. And also just like I love the Mexican guys. I love being around them. I love how they work. I love speaking Spanish. And so that part of it too is a really, really fun part of what I do. But what it's given me is it's just given a lot of freedom as I built it. I spent 20 years really dedicated, but it's allowed me a lot of freedom throughout my life. Not just financially, but just like time, like be able to go to my kids' games or, you know, things that were really a priority I could make happen.
Yeah.
So in 2008, you know, when the economy crashed, so I went from like 50 employees to like 4, and it felt like overnight.
Yeah.
Felt like overnight. And luckily for me, like growing my business, it was organic. Like I didn't go out and get a bunch of bank loans to grow and grow and grow.
Yeah.
I grew as we needed. And so I'd buy a truck, and I never bought new trucks. I'd buy a used truck. I'd buy a used truck. I'd buy a used Bobcat. I'd buy, you know, and so when 2008 hit, luckily I wasn't leveraged.
Yeah.
But it got bad. It got really bad. Like I went to some insurance salesman clinic. I was going to get certified to sell insurance. That's how bad it got. And I remember my dad just saying, "Hey, if you can just weather this, don't close." He's like, on the upside of this, you know, after this is over in the next 10 years, you're going to do really well. And he was right. I mean, luckily, again, we got down to, I mean, it's just, yeah, I mean, we're going to lose our house or anything. But had I had any bad debt, I would have had to close and figured out something else to do. So
how'd you feel during that time? Was it stressful?
Oh yeah, it was stressful. And it was weird because I felt young at the time. I should have been more worried than I was, you know, because you're like, oh, I'm down to a few $1,000s. And you know, when you run a business, cash flow, a few $1,000s, that doesn't even make payroll. You're like, and I was like, oh, I don't know, I'll figure it out. But it was stressful, but I should now, thinking back, like the me of now would have been freaking out. And for some reason I was just like, well, you know, and we just tightened the belt a little bit. We just stopped buying stuff, stopped going places, just like, okay, until we get some money, let's just slow down.
That's what I did in 2020 when the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
I was like, this doesn't feel good. Mm-hmm. Our government's losing their damn minds. Mm-hmm. And which was wild for us though, because we had like 2 competitors like shut down during COVID for like a month stretch. Oh yeah. Like Spalding like shut down. They had like 45 welders. Now they're down to like 3 still. So to get stuff from Spalding's like
impossible.
10 months out, 11 months out. And so people just called us up and said, hey, we want to buy your stuff. It's like, great. And we like, I don't know, maybe grabbed another 30%.
Yeah.
Like it was insane. And so, but I was stressed the whole time because like you, now you're a little bit wiser and you watch how these things move. It's like, oh, there's some real bad shit that can happen here.
Yeah.
You know?
And you know, what I learned from 2008 and even today is what I do is I just don't over leverage myself.
Yeah.
You know, I like to buy properties and invest and build homes and, but I keep it quiet. I keep it on a small scale.
Yeah.
I sleep good at night, you know? But again, it took 20 years. Right. And something that I tell my boys, my kids, but my boys, especially because they're older, is that they have to, you know, find something and then dedicate time to it. You know, I mean, it's going to take time, and just understand that, you know, dedicating time and really going all in on something, it'll work no matter what it is. Yeah. But I think that's the thing that's the hardest for people to maybe, especially these younger generations. They just want instant, you know, they want to just create an app or think of an idea but even that, like there's no shortcuts, right? You just got to put the time in.
Well, something on my mind, we kind of brought this up over the weekend. I love love. Right?
You do. You do.
I really do.
I love that you love love.
Thank you. I love that you love that I love love. But I look at like these younger kids and I'm like, one of the things that I was able to grow my business with, and I'm sure the same as you, is I had a partner with me. Yeah. You know, like back at home, taking care of the kids, taking care of all that stuff. So I can actually go out and make this shit happen and stress at work and then come home and get some relief. You know? Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't have done any of this without my wife for sure. I mean, you know, and I've told her this, but I've never worried one time about her and the kids at home when she's there taking care of them. Yeah. And it allowed me to put all my focus on what I'm doing out in the business world. Yeah. And that's so valuable. Like it's, I don't know, for me, it was everything because I knew shit was taken care of at home. Yeah. And so the minute I walked out that door, I was focused on what I'm trying to accomplish. and not worried about her and having to worry about how she's doing or if the kids are okay. No, she handled it. And my wife never give me shit about working too much.
Yeah.
Ever.
Neither does mine.
Yeah. She just like, do what you got to do.
I've had employees, man, where their wives are like blowing them up every hour, calling them on the phone, texting them,
Yeah.
Hey,
and I understand, like, women need more help or need help, which is, and I wasn't always great at helping, at home. I try, but a lot of times you get home and you're just beat mentally, not physically, just my brain's like, oh, you're in a brain fog.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, not once had my wife ever called and say, you need to come home. You're working too much. Never. Yeah. I never had to worry about that side of our marriage because she handled that and handled it well.
That's the way it should be.
Yeah. I mean, I think so. I think, especially for like, if you're trying to run a business or create something, or trying to build something. Yeah. Because by your wife doing that is almost like her coming into the business and like adding so much value. It's just, there's no different than like working together. It's just because, as men, we still want an awesome home life. Yeah. Right. We want our kids there. We want our wife there. We want to create some peaceful. And I mean, my wife's totally done that for us. Yeah. So it's been nice. It's been really nice. It's been fun. Yeah. Our lives right now, like we have, we're in probably the peak of our, like every year of marriage, it gets better. Every year of our family, our kids are getting older and they're getting more fun. And, it's just a fun time right now for us.
We can kind of look back on it too and just like, hey, we earned this.
Yeah. That part feels good. Yeah. And it was intentional. Even though we didn't know, it's not like we're like, I just always, you just like work towards something. And then when you're there, you're like, wow, this feels pretty good. It feels pretty good to like, but none of it would have mattered if it wasn't for, without my wife and kids, none of the success, none of the business, none of that would be worth anything to me. Yeah. If I had have lost them or damaged the family along the way. Yeah. So that's the trick, I think, keeping that family. And a lot of it is the wife. The wife is the glue there that for us. And so that's my favorite part is financially, like we're in a good spot, but also just like relationships with our kids. Our relationship, mine and my wife's, like is just, it's never been better. Yeah. And it just makes everything more beautiful in life. Yeah. It really does.
Like getting your cake and eating it too.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
It's funny too, because as you go through life, right? I think we were talking about this the other night as well, but you start jiving with people who love their wife.
Oh, for sure.
You start just rejecting dudes that are like not doing that.
Yeah.
It's like a natural thing. It's not like I don't want to be nice to everybody, but like you just gotta find your people that are like, yeah, you're like us. Like you work hard, you love your wife. Like, yeah, there's things that are important to you. You're not just flying in the wind.
No. Yeah, no, and that's why I like you. That's why one of the reasons I was drawn to you, because of Michelle. Yeah. I mean, together you guys are so fun. And she balances you so nicely. And it's just like being in your home these last few days has been amazing. Yeah. Like the peace there and seeing your kids yesterday. I mean, it's just you guys have done a really good job. It's really nice to be in that.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, yeah. No, I mean, we tried. I mean, we tried real hard to make this.
Obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't just magically happen, right?
Yeah, it's not easy.
It's work.
So, and it's hard too, because you talk to so many people. I mean, we're in these leadership groups, and then we've got, it's kind of funny. I don't know if you heard me talking about this, but like when we went to this conference this weekend, I had like 5 guys come up to me like, hey man, it's an honor to meet you. And I'm like, it's not, but what's up? They're like, I listen to your podcast.
Well, no, like, it is an honor to meet you. So embrace that, dude.
Embrace I guess so.
Why not?
Well, it just kind of catches you off guard, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you were on the call, talking about investment and stuff. That was a lot of good stuff you were spitting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to, right? It's like,
why not?
It's such a wide breadth of things, It's
yeah.
Like,
but you've paid your dues. You've got the experience, and you've got valuable experience.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Yeah. Yeah. You know where it all came from, all that business valuation stuff? I used to do hard money lending.
Well, you're very analytical. Like, I wish I was more, that's not something I've ever been great at, is like crunching the numbers and like being very detail oriented. But you're really good at that.
I'll tell you why I'm good at it. Because I know the numbers that are important and the ones that aren't.
Yeah.
So when people first look at something, it's so overwhelming because they don't care, right?
Yeah.
Like office supplies on a P&L, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even almost down to like insurance and stuff like that. It's like, you got to look at like your real costs and like go, well, what's the value of this business? How fast can I get an ROI? You know, it's just, you'd be just as good. You run a business. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, you just look at it.
I just always hired people. Like, I have an office manager, Erica, that's been with me for like 20 years.
Yeah.
She handles all that. Because I learned that valuable lesson.
Yeah. No, that's true.
If I'm not good at something, I would hire someone that helped me just be good at it. So I could focus on what I was good at.
Yeah.
And not worry about it.
And you know what's funny about that? I've done that a little bit, but I'm actually starting to do that a lot more, where I'm like, I'm just going to take all the things that I do and just segment them off into different people that are better at it.
Yeah.
And then I don't have to go to work anymore.
I mean, and I even learned that through the pandemic. Like, we got so busy. You know, I freaked out the first month thinking everyone's gonna stop building, stop moving, stop spending money, and then it just flipped. Yeah. And everyone's like, spend more, build bigger. You know, all the money got thrown into the economy from printing. So we hired and we hired people, and so I've never had this many administrative people, and it's almost weird, just because I have more time on my hands than I've ever had. Yeah. I'm like, this is kind of nice. Why the hell haven't I done this? I was always scared to hire someone if I could do it, right? Because I never want to hire and then realize I don't need them.
Oh yeah.
Right? I didn't want to do that to anybody. And so I always hire probably a year too late. But when I hire them, it's worse. We need them. Yeah. And we've never had to hire and then say, okay, never mind.
Right.
You know, and so, but it's just, I was like, dang, you know, having the right people in place, and it just makes and it makes you more money, right? Yeah. You think it's going to cost you to bring on employees. It makes you more money in the end because you're more efficient, less mistakes. And, anyway, so it's been really nice, like to delegate. It's like,
so do you do the hiring?
Again, I have an office manager, Erica, that helps me with all that.
Okay.
She's been with me, like I said, 20 years.
Are you involved in it at all? Or
a little bit, not really. Like, depending on the positions. Right. Like, she'll vet a few out, and then sometimes I'll be in the meeting and meet with them right before we hire somebody.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's similar to me.
Yeah.
I let the guys pick and choose them, read the resumes.
Yeah.
We bring them in for an interview. I normally sit in on the interviews, but we don't hire all that often.
Yeah, we don't either.
1 or 2 a year.
Like, and a lot of times field guys we hire just word of mouth. Right. We tell our guys, hey, we need 2 guys, one guy that knows how to do pavers and one guy that can build a barbecue or something. And then they have these guys all network with each other. Yeah. And we try to create a good place to work.
Are your field guys on payroll, or are they like 1099?
Most of them on payroll, like our employees, but we have tons of 1099 subcontractors, especially in the pool and the housing business.
Right.
We have to rely on a lot of subcontractors.
Yeah, because you need like a specialty, right?
Yeah. And so that's how we've done it. And it's worked really well. It allows us to do so much more volume with the same amount of 60 field guys or 80 field guys, you know. Because now we're just 1099 and bringing guys in. And basically, the pool business was tricky to learn, but it was a really nice way we basically doubled our volume and really only had to hire about 6 people.
Yeah.
Right. And so because of the subcontracting and the way it works. And so that part of it's really cool. Because you can, think about it, let's say we were doing $9 million a year. And when I started doing pools 10 years ago, we went from 9 to like 18 after several years. Right. And really only needing to hire, a few people to do that. Yeah. So that part of the pool business is cool. The downside of the pool business is, there's a lot of different trades. There's a lot of scheduling, the permitting. And right now it just takes a long time. Yeah. Everything takes so long.
Is it hard to get permits?
Not hard. Like I said, we have a lady, Misty, that's in charge of that, and she's really good at getting permits. Yeah, but sometimes it can take a month, 2 months.
Yeah. And that's all in the state, right? They're just slow.
It's all depending on the city you're building in.
Yeah.
So it's all through city permitting, just like here probably.
Do they ever deny them?
They won't deny it. They might redline it and say, hey, this pool's too close to the wall, or there's a setback here, or they need more information. But we have we've been doing it a long time, so we know the setbacks and know where the pool can go or can't go. Yeah. And we got 3 designers that work for us, and they're really good. We got some good designers right now doing some cool designs.
What software do they use?
It's a VIP software. It's like Pool Studio. Oh, okay. So it's a 3D type software. Yeah. And so they throw it in a 2D, and then it generates it into a 3D renderings.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, most pool guys use it because it just brings the whole design to life.
Yeah, you show the customers.
Yeah.
So is it price competitive in the pool world?
Yeah. I mean, there's a bunch of pool builders, right? Yeah. So we're always
but at some level though, you want the best guy.
So luckily we've kind of over the years, as you try to take care of business, we're not perfect by any means, but we'll always fix something if we F it up. Yeah. Right. And right now too, timing's tough. Like people want to be swimming and it's like, damn, it's taking 6 months, 8 months. COVID, I used to be able to build a pool in 3 to 4 months. Yeah. And now it's like more than about double that at least. But that's starting to normalize a little bit. So hopefully we can get that down to like a 6 month.
Is that because you're waiting on materials? Or?
It's just everything. Yeah, it's everything. And it's so busy. Like shotcrete is one thing in Phoenix that was just on a huge shortage because there's only a few companies that are good at it. Yeah. And most of our, our pools can be detailed, can be difficult, right? And so you can't just turn it loose to any shotcrete company. It's got to be the ones that know what they're doing. Yeah. And so they'd have a backlog of like 12 weeks. So the pool would just sit. And the customers are just staring at this half-built pool for like, they're like, what the heck? And I'm like, I know. But that really, COVID but that's starting to kind of normalize a little bit.
Do you talk to customers much?
I do sometimes. So a lot of the designers meet with them initially and just sell the job. I still have a few of the home builders that I work for that I handle those clients.
Oh, they know you, basically.
Yeah. I'm the contact for them. And so I handle all their clients on the custom homes that they're building for them.
Yeah. So when did you become crazy enough to want to GC some jobs? What made you want to do it?
Oh, that was a good story. There was a guy that owed me some money on a job. Okay. And he couldn't pay me, but he owned a lot in a subdivision. Or I don't know if he couldn't pay me or said, hey, would you want this lot instead? And so I took the lot. And I was like, I think I can make 10 grand on the lot. So let's say it was $100,000. I was like, I think I can sell it for 110. I was like, I'd make 10 grand. Because I think that's what he owed me, is like 100 grand. Yeah. So he deeded me the lot. And I was like, I couldn't sell the damn lot. It was a good lot in a nice neighborhood. I couldn't sell it. It backed up to a main road. And so I didn't realize that. Because I'd never really done real estate. This was, 7 years ago. Yeah. And so it backed up to a main road, which I didn't even think that would be a big deal. Well, of course it was. So I couldn't sell it. So I had some, I had some savings from my business, had a little money. I was like, what if I build a house on it? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to build a house on it. So I, went to the architect, got the house, and I've been in the construction, so I understood it, a little bit of it. I didn't have my license or anything at the time, but I didn't need one. I was just going to be owner builder. So I built a house, and I was like, I'm going to go ahead and build the pool and everything because that's my business. Let me just put the pool in, let me landscape it, and we sold it like that. And I think I made 100 grand, and I was like, holy shit. Yeah. So I took all of that money. I think we sold it for like 900 and something thousand. Took all of that money, and I went and bought like 2 other lots, built 2 homes. Took all of that money, went and bought 4 lots, built 4 homes. And so again, this was over a few years, right? Mm-hmm. But I never had to leverage. So I just took any money that I made and just kind of like doubled down, right? And so I started to see, I was like, holy crap. And again, timing was great. This was like 2017, 2018, 2019. And so it's just every year, the housing's just going up and going up. And so then I realized I got to go get licensed. I got to get legit on this because you can't, I think you can do one a year as an owner builder. Yeah. The minute you do more than one, you got to be licensed. Yeah. So I went, it took me several months and I got my license. And then now we just haven't looked back on that side of the business. And again, that business is so nice because I need like 1 or 2 administratives to do the whole thing. Yeah. I mean, it's because that's completely subcontracted.
Do you guys design in-house?
Not the house. No, I have a couple architects I work with.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because you kind of picked a design, right? And you kind of just tweak it
exactly.
Each time? Yeah.
So we have one now that has been really popular, and it's about a 5,000 square foot house. Mm-hmm. And then we just change elevations, and it's completely custom, but we just tweak it. Because most of our homes aren't in the same neighborhood, right? We'll build them in different neighborhoods in my area. And so you're not ever building next door to one. So
are you doing a 1031 exchange every time?
Not every time, no.
Okay.
We do too many of them.
Okay.
Yeah, it's too many. Yeah. So if there's one, like we had one during COVID where the prices doubled. So I did it on that one, right? Yeah. But it's just, there's too many, it's just, tax wise, but we just run it. Now it's just ran as a home building business. It's a spec home business. Yeah. So you buy the lots, build a house, sell it, write off everything you can. Here's what's left, pay taxes. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you try and list the home before it's built?
No. Okay. So I have a good realtor and he's a buddy of mine. Yeah. And again, we've gone through this process of the best process we've learned: finish the house, finish the yard, finish the pool, make sure there's water in the pool, take the pictures, list them. And I always fight him on it too. I'm like, dude, list this house. It's almost done. He's like, no, get it finished. Yeah. And he's right every time. When it's a finished product and people walk in, it's a brand new home. But when it's half finished and they're trying to visualize, right? And the pool's not done, people have a hard time visualizing. And so we've learned, yes, you just finish them all out. Make sure the pool's done. Make sure the barbecue, everything done. So when people, the first time they come in, they see it all done. Yeah. And we've had good luck with that for sure. Because now as this recession started last year, we had a couple that were kind of half finished, and we decided let's see if we can get these sold, because we saw this little bump in the economy coming, and it has been a bump. I mean, I think housing's gone down 10-15% in the Phoenix area. Yeah. And so we had 2 of them, of the bigger ones, and we did pre-sell those. But then those require so much more work from me, because they're involved now in the cabinets and the paint, right? And they're involved in all the selections. Whereas before, I do whatever the hell I want, or ask my wife on, hey, is this tile what works? Or I have a designer that sometimes we use that help me, pick tile and wood floor colors and stuff like that. Yeah. So, but we sold those perfectly timing wise, and those are just wrapping up. And then, but normally, we finish them, pull landscape, and then sell them.
Cool.
Yeah.
And one thing you do is a guest house, right?
Oh, we always do pool house. That's one of the little things that I didn't do on the very first one. And same thing with my realtor. He's like, dude, I think you can get the same price per square foot in a pool house as your main house. So crunching the numbers, it's cheaper to build a pool house than a main house, but yet when you sell it, you're going to get the price per square foot the same as the house. Right. So financially it makes sense. So we start doing them, and now we do them on all of our houses. The
people that buy these homes, are they second homes for them, or are they primary? Or do you know?
Depends. Primary, most of them. Yeah. But a lot of times, again, I'm not involved with them.
Right.
I have that buffer, my realtor, so I don't usually meet them. I don't know who they are. On warranty work, again, they just call the office, and if they need something fixed, or the ACs,
Did you like a 1-year warranty on stuff,
So it's a 2-year. It's pretty standard in Arizona.
Oh, okay.
So at a 1 year, you do like a punch list, right? And then you take care of like cracked drywall if they have a light switch not working. And then after 2 years, you're done.
Yeah, you're done.
Yeah. Cool. Yep.
So do you find that more of a passion project, or is it a?
I think it's to try to make money. I mean, I don't know that I am in love with building homes. I like it. Yeah. I like, because we deal with homeowners, right? In the pool business, tons of them, hundreds a year. And that can be taxing, to say the least. So the home business is kind of nice, because I don't have to deal with anyone but me.
Yeah, you're just building it.
Yeah, you're just building it. Check on the subs.
I've always liked that. I get in the home, like my home right now, like you guys have been there for a couple of days. There's things about it that drive me crazy. And I look at the design and I'm like, why the hell did you design this way? You know what I mean? Yeah. Especially down in the basement, right? There's like all these kind of random rooms.
Yes.
I'm like,
yeah.
What were you guys thinking? I mean, we made it kind of nice.
That's why you need to design your next one. You build in Arizona, you're going to design it.
I'm not lying. I'm doing it. I'm I love the idea of an Arizona house. There's a lot of ramblers down there, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. If you could spend 8 months a year, or 9 even, in Arizona, it's awesome. Yeah. So keep a little house up here for the summers. Yeah. And then bounce down in Arizona.
Keep a cottage up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love. I mean, Arizona's great. I mean, Phoenix is the 5th largest city in the country.
Yeah,
you have everything.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, the growth. I mean, you have it too in Utah, obviously, but like, there's so many people that still moved to Arizona, even in the recession, right? The housing market sucked, but people were still moving. They just weren't buying. No one's buying anything. They're just renting or staying with their parents, and so the growth is always going to be there. And businesses like mine, like construction, you have to have growth. Yeah. Right. So for me, I love it.
That's the same as us, because we build, we're in schools a lot, right? Yeah. That's why the 2008 thing hit us in 11. because they weren't building new neighborhoods. All the home builders were getting their ass kicked.
Yeah.
And so we were doing a lot of refinishing and remodels of old schools and stuff like that. That's kind of what the government swapped to. But, and then, as soon as they started building homes again, it was just like, 200 more elementary schools, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. It's interesting to have, we're in our 40s now. And, we've probably been through 2 economic cycles in our careers. And it's interesting to watch them.
It is.
Like I have a big stock portfolio that I've worked on since I was like 21.
Yeah.
And every time a recession starts to come, man, I just have this like itch inside me. It's like, do I go to cash?
I know.
How bad is this going to hurt?
What do you usually do?
Nothing. I just read it out.
Well, because if you go over history, right? So you just don't panic.
Yeah. Well, and if I sold them too, I would get absolutely destroyed on taxes.
That's the problem.
Most of my stocks are, they're, if you look at a principal versus equity thing, they're all equity.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's the problem is, but if you don't panic, give it 5 years, it'll bounce back plus however much more. Yeah. And it always does.
Well, if you look at inflation too, what people don't understand about inflation, it eats debt.
Yeah.
So, you buy a house 20 years ago for $200,000 and you had a $180,000 mortgage. That seemed like a lot back then. Nowadays, people would kill their best friend to have a $180,000 mortgage on a livable house.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. And then I study really wealthy people, but I study them through the family offices. So when you get to like 100 million, you normally hire a team to run your
to manage it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they call it a family office. So you might, it might be a 2-person team. Sometimes they're bigger, right? But you might have a little analyst kid that works, or not kid, but an analyst that works for you. So they, once you start making some money, everyone wants to, have you invest in their crap. And so you set up a family office and you put someone in charge, and there's just a gatekeeper to all your money. And then they, they manage your stocks and, give you reports and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And so I've studied a lot of wealthy families through their family office and how that's set up and how they operate. And it's just interesting to me. Most people never sell stock. When you're really wealthy, you never sell it. You hold it forever. And so unless you had like a JCPenney or like a Blockbuster or something like that, right? Where they're like, oh shit, this is going to get wiped out, And so like a roller skate business or something. So then, you might tow those ones up. But if you own Procter & Gamble or Johnson & Johnson or, Amazon or Apple,
Google, write it out.
Google's insane. You know how much money those guys make?
I know.
It's insane.
I know.
So,
yeah, that's one world I haven't dove into really is stocks. Yeah. And that's, again, I kind of stay in my lane, I know what I know. I've done some small business investing with people that I knew nothing about and never worked out. Yeah. So I keep it pretty simple. I'm open to, I still stay open to opportunities and things like that, but I know what I know and I try to stick with that. And I like to control. Yeah. Like if it's my money, I want to control what the hell I do with it. Yeah. And so for me, hey, let's buy another lot. There's a lot for sale, a good lot in the neighborhood. Yeah. And then we'll buy it. And then a year or two, we'll put a house on it or whatever. It just, depending on what the economy's doing. But it's just, my dad was so anti-stock too. He put the fear of God in me with stocks. He's like, don't give someone your money. Put it on your mattress. Or, buy something that's actually real. Yeah. But
there's a lot of truth to that. You build a real estate portfolio and a system like you have. It's like,
yeah. I mean, and even like what, in the Watt, in our group, men's group, they talk a lot about real estate portfolios and rentals. And that's also something I don't mess with. I don't like, and I'm not saying it doesn't work. It's just, I don't know a lot about it. And I kind of stick to what I do. And I think what gets not talked about enough, I think, especially in our men's group or just in general, is, we have these $100 million funds and these, but really like one of a really good way to like create a nice life is small business. Like think of a business, create it, work your ass off, build it to where it can run really well without you having to be there 80 hours a week. Oh, yeah. And that's some residual income, right? It's the part that I think, people think I got to have 10 rental homes. Which is great because that can work, but that also, it can cost a lot of money and it can be, and you got to spend time to learn that business. But like if you have no money and you could start a small business with no money, right? Start on the weekends, pressure wash, window cleaning, doesn't matter. start small, keep your day job, start on the weekends, and then let it grow naturally. Yeah. And eventually, if you can build that to something and get it to where it runs, and it's that small business is so valuable to me, because again, it worked for me. So of course I'm going to say like, I like small business, but,
well, I'm the same way. It worked for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These $100 million real estate portfolios, that's awesome. But to the normal, regular guy, which I feel like I'm one of those guys, it's just I don't have a college degree. I didn't have a bunch of money inherited to go put it in stocks or whatever. I had to, so for me, a guy that, no college degree, I knew Spanish. I was like, small business, let me start a business and organically, slowly build it. Don't take on a lot of crazy debt. You don't have to go from 0 to 100 in 5 years. It's just, and then it one, gave me freedom, because I own my own business as far as time. But two, it allowed financially, eventually, it took a lot of years, but eventually it created a nice, good life for us. Yeah. And now the freedom is what I really love now. Yeah. Is, because initially there's not a lot of freedom when you start a business. Yeah. You're everything. You're you're the accountant, you're the salesman. But if you put enough effort and dedication and time, you can build that to where now you can source that out and hire some people. And anyway, that's something that I'm a big fan of, is small business. That there's not a lot of talk about starting a small business in this era right now. It's mostly real estate, rentals, stocks, tech, all these things are like, or
if you want to get burned, go do some tech,
or learn how to fix an air conditioner or a heater.
Yeah.
Start on the weekends on side jobs, go get licensed. Mm-hmm. And in 5 or 10 years, you'll have a legit business. And it didn't cost you, maybe cost you a little bit to go get certified or a plumber that's one thing I've learned during pandemic. There's not near enough of those type of people wanting to learn that business.
Oh, dude, we have a hell of a time hiring installers.
Oh man.
It's insane.
And then that's why now they're making more money than they ever made. Some of these guys make great money, more than engineers, because there's not a lot of guys that want to do it. Yeah. And so that's a niche, for all of us that have kids that maybe don't want to go to college or don't want to learn. It's like, go learn a trade.
If some guys are honest with themselves, like absolutely, you buy a small business, you can do really, really well. Mm-hmm. Right? But some people are not capable of doing a small business.
You're right. You're right.
But there's also this thing where people think they need to be a business and they got to own a business and they got to do all this stuff. And it's like, homie, if you're making $400,000 a year being an HVAC guy, because no one else does it, that's great.
That's awesome.
Because you can still do $1 million in a business and only make $200,000. Uh-huh. No,
you're right. That's if you're doing good. If you bring in $1 million and you're making $200,000 off that million, it's pretty damn good. That 20% is pretty good.
Well, that's why, right now, I'm telling all these guys to go do solar.
Yeah,
go sell solar. It's the easiest shit ever.
Mm-hmm. The margins are ridiculous.
For a salesman, it's bananas.
Yeah, and you're learning some really good tools. Yeah, my son's doing solar right now. Yeah. He's 19, out knocking doors, and and he's learning so many valuable lessons. It's really nice.
Well, one of our mutual friends, he was talking about how he's working. Dude, he made $33,000 in a week.
I know.
I'm like,
yeah, I've never, crazy. In my small business, now it can, but I never made that in a week, and trying to throw some bushes and trees in somebody's yard.
But we're going to be getting close, man. Trades are a big deal.
Yeah. And so again, that small bit, especially if you can learn a trade, go work for someone and then even learn the business part of it. Yeah. And then start doing side jobs on the weekends, on your free time. And that just naturally builds.
Well, I've always told people too, it's like, go find a job you love, right? And start doing it, start being good at it, and go to your boss and be like, hey, I want to expand your business. Would you cut me in 15% commission? Exactly. Then you don't have to start a small business. Well, you actually are just starting small, but you just decided that you just participate in the process.
I would love if someone came, I've never had that happen to me. Someone come to me and say, hey, someone that learned what I was doing, or, and part of that was me is probably not understanding, bringing someone on and teaching them, because these younger kids, they're really good at a lot of things that I'm not good at, like branding and social media. And, you can go offer a lot of value to your boss by doing that. Saying, hey, I've learned this business. I feel like I'm good at it. I want to be involved. Cut me in. Yeah. What can I do? How can I do it? Here's what I see. I can add this value. I can offer this. Yeah. You're right.
Especially if your boss is in his 50s.
I know. or 40s.
Right? And has done well. Yeah.
Or 40s.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I would take it now for sure, right? But we're a little ahead of the curve. You know, I think a lot of guys that do a small business, it's about their 50s where they're real comfortable and they've made good decisions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you get a guy, because you can go, what I mean with a 50-year-old, you can go up to him and be like, hey, I know you don't want to work more than 20 hours a week, right?
Yeah.
You know, you've worked your ass off for 30 years, right? This is a new segment I think we can run into. I would love to do this. This is the commission I want off of it. I'll handle everything. You know, you can do a little more selling and, you know, really get into the product line, make sure it matches the company's, you know, mission. But if that does, dude,
I know.
Great money.
That'd be smart.
You don't have to worry about payroll and employees and paying
and your
taxes.
phone can be off on the weekends. Because, you know, there's a lot of, like one of my best friends is an engineer and he started out as a regular engineer and then he just completely moved up because he's creating value. He's just such a good dude. He has great people skills. Now he's managing. And that's another option I tell people is like, you don't have to start a business. Go work for someone and create value and work your ass off and be great at it. And you're going to get all these great benefits. You're going to get some 401k. You're going to be able to have your phone off on the weekends. Like there's so many ways to create a nice life for yourself. Yeah. And so that's another thing where I don't want any of these younger kids to get discouraged. Like, oh, I got to work for someone. Like that's bad. It's like, no, go work for someone. Yeah. Have and create value and still make all the money you want and have way less headaches and problems and fires to put out and all the things.
And even go to the guy and be like, hey man, part of me working here, I want 30 minutes of your time every week for you to teach me business. Mm-hmm. Because at the start, the guy's going to be like, sure, man, whatever, you know, like just go sell some shit for me, will you? And then eventually they're going to be like, oh, I respect this kid. Yeah. You know, he's in here, he's hustling, he's making money, he's making me money. Yeah, sure, I'll sit with him for 30 minutes. I'll turn into an hour, right? Especially with me because I can't shut up.
Oh, yeah. You love to talk.
But, you know, especially if someone cares, right? I mean, you're sitting there taking notes like, hey, how do I build a stock portfolio? What should I invest in? You know, like, Mark, what do you think? Should I get a rental home? You know, I made an extra $50K this last quarter. Yeah. Like, yeah, if you like that stuff, you know, here's the downfalls, here's the upsides, and go and do. Yeah. You know, I mean, it's some of the best ways to learn things.
Well, and what's crazy is like someone like you and someone like me, I would never say no. If someone asked me, hey, can you mentor me? I was like, sure. Mm-hmm. Right? Like most of us are actually, yeah. What do you want to learn? You know, but it's just even people just coming out of their comfort zone to ask that. Yeah. You know, is sometimes that's the hardest thing is just ask. And most guys I know that don't run a business, they'd be happy to, you know, because I would. Yeah. I'd be happy to.
We wanted it when we were young.
Yeah.
We just had to
because I didn't know shit. I would have loved someone to come in and say, hey, here's the mistakes I made. Yeah. You know,
and if you look over 10 years, right, if they save you 3 years of crap, that's huge.
You're right.
You know, one thing I look at college too, it's interesting to me. I look back and I go, okay, I went to college for 4 years. I got a degree, right? Paralegal studies, right? I was going to go to law school. And I go back and I'm like, man, if I would have worked for those 4 years instead of gone to school, I actually worked full time the entire time, but I was working for my dad and I was like, I just do what I'm supposed to do. I'm a good employee, but I'm not like trying to learn. Yeah. You know, I'm just trying to get this over with because I'm going to be an attorney one day. Right. And I don't know. I look back at it now. It's like, damn, dude, if I was pulling in an extra $60K a year for 4 years and then invested all that money, you know, by the time you're 40, it's a lot of money. Yeah. It's a lot of money. Yep. But it's weird how our society doesn't like really get into that stuff with people. Like really career plan.
You know? I know. Well, and even me, I just kind of winged it half the time, right? Like I kind of knew where I wanted to go. Yeah. One thing that I look back over my business career is I was always good about taking that next uncomfortable step in business. Mm-hmm. You know, like, shit, I don't know how to do this. I'm going to figure it out. Or, man, I'm already in this space of landscaping. Why am I not building the pool as well? Why am I not adding value to these builders where they can hire one guy to do it all? And that's what I would say when I look back. I don't know that I was like, I want to build pools. I want to build houses. It was more of organically just being opened to like the next thing. And I was always open to like growing and like, what's next? You know, in this field, I kind of kept it in the field, but, and then it just creates like this new energy, right? It's like, oh, you know, cause you're starting almost something start from scratch. And now you got to learn, and it creates like a nice little energy to it, you know, to break up a little bit of the monotony that can happen when you do something for 20 years.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of, I mean, sometimes I like gut check myself. I'm like, am I sick of this? You know?
You have to ask yourself.
Yeah. Sitting there answering all these emails. I got there's this, you know, we do pre-qualifications all the time, right? And I've passed most of them off to my controller. But I still get, I mean, I'm just that guy. Like, I'm on all these email lists. So it comes in, it's like, oh, I'll go in here and fill this form out real quick.
Yeah.
And there's just these like compliance people out there that I'm like, I don't work for you. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't give a shit, you know? Well, I need to have a certified letter from your accountant about your bond. I'm like, no, you don't. This is what you need. You know,
Yeah.
then I get an email back later like, oh, okay, you're right. We'll accept this. It's like, ugh, you know? Then I go to lunch and I think, well, actually, I order some DoorDash. It comes to my office because I'm just more efficient if I never leave.
Yeah.
And it's just like, why do I do compliance? Screw these people. You're going to give me the freaking thing anyways. I'm low bid. I've done 100 jobs with you in the last 25 years. Why are you pre-qualifying me? You know, but it's all because, you know, they got some software that has a box in the check. And
Oh, yeah. You got to jump through the hoops.
Yeah.
You got to jump through the hoops.
Did you do a lot of pre-quals?
None.
Oh, that's good.
Mine's just word of mouth. Again, so organic, you know, but we're very niche, customized. You know, it's not like we're selling this product to the world.
Well, and your reputation's got to be super high.
Reputation's good.
Yeah.
Again, we screw up, right?
Yeah, you fix it.
But we fix it.
Yeah.
Like I've set hundreds of jobs where I just lost money, right? Yeah. Because I was like, I got to fix it. And it cost me 10 grand or 20 grand. I got to fix it. Yeah. But it's also, it's a nice way to run a business. My employees know that we'll fix it. They're not worried about if I'm going to try to cut corner. They know, hey, we're going to try to do it the right way every time. And if it's wrong, we're going to fix it. Mm-hmm. So, and that's been kind of nice, you know, developing a business where financially you don't have to worry about, can I fix this? Can I even afford to fix this? Right. You know, versus we fix it every time. So that's been nice. And again, it's just a culture that in our business, like, well, shit, the homeowner's pissed, right? This is leaking or that, or they wanted this. And I'm like, fix it, whatever it costs, fix it.
Yeah.
So that's again, it's just a nice way to not have to worry about, and it helps your reputation. I mean, because again, we don't advertise. I've never advertised. I don't even know what that is. I have an Instagram account, but it's just like we put pictures on there.
I know, I love it.
So that people can go look at know that we know what the hell we're doing. Because we do. That's one thing we do. We know what we're doing. Yeah. You know, with our employees and over the several years of some of these structures we build now on pools and the jumping and they have these floating cement tops where there's a cave underneath and you're standing on top and jumping off, and there's all this engineering involved, and but we do have the expertise. Like it's nice to be in a spot to where I've paid the dues and we have the experience, and so there's no job that comes in and you're like, how the hell did we do this? No, right. It's like, oh yeah, we do it this way.
So if you were talking to your 25-year-old self, so you're already in it, right?
Okay,
not just starting, what advice would you have given yourself?
Well, I'm in a new.
I'm in Google stock.
Yeah, I'm in a new phase of life these last few years, and that's partly why I joined the group. I'm just more of in this space of expansion and learning, and especially personally. And I probably would have told my 25-year-old self to maybe get into that a little sooner, because I've noticed as I've opened myself up to new ideas and new experiences, it's just made me better at business. I can see the big picture a little better. I can kind of zoom out, because sometimes in a small business, you're so zoomed in. You're like, so, you know, focused on the task at hand versus, hey, where are we headed? You know, kind of zooming out in life. And I'd probably say, hey, dude, you know, go ahead and maybe read a book, or maybe go to a mastermind, or maybe, because I didn't do any of that. Yeah. For whatever reason, I didn't, you know, and now it's like at 44, you know, these last few years, I'm so into that. I'm like, let's read books. Let's like get other ideas. Let's like, what is this guy doing? Yeah. And it's just this expansion that I feel like I'm in is just, it's made me better. It's made me better at business, better boss, more caring. It's just made me better. So I'd tell my 25-year-old, hey, get a damn book. You know, learn something outside of what you're so zoned in on. Yeah. Slow down, maybe, you know, enjoy life a little more. Yeah. A little more time at home or with the kids. And
Yeah, that's the hard part, right? Is you look back and you're like, man, I've really set us up for the future, but did I miss some stuff?
I probably missed some stuff. I mean, I still laugh at this Daddy Donuts where they do school, where you go and there's they pull out donuts for dads.
What's that?
I'm like, wait, it's like, it's at school, right? The dads are supposed to come in the mornings with the kids for donuts. Oh. I'm like, no one has a damn job. I told him I never went to one because I was just like, but I don't regret that part. Yeah. Here's what I don't regret anything because I did feel like I showed up to the important stuff. Yeah. And if I'm not at Dad's for Donuts or whatever the shit that is, I'm not at Dad's for Donuts. But when they come home from school, I'm there. I'm spending time with them. So I feel like I made sure I tried to create relationships where it didn't matter if I was at the Dad's for Donuts every time. Yeah. Right. And I probably could have done better at some areas, but I did the best I could at the time. And I don't look back and think, oh, I missed these ball games. I didn't do that. I went to everything. Yeah. Yeah. And so, but it just slowing down, even being more present, right? Like coming home from work, I'm just like still balls deep into business and clients. And I had a hard time being present with my wife, present with my kids. And now it's.
Did you have to come home and decompress?
Stuff I probably should have learned, right? Stay in the truck maybe 15 minutes and just like take care of all your texts or something. No, I come home, I walk right in the door because I want to be home, but then my phone's still blowing up, and I have to respond. Otherwise I get behind or at least I thought I had to respond. Yeah. Right. So it's just those kind of tools. But again, sometimes experience is the only way to learn. Oh, yeah. Like my dad, how many times did he tell me, hey, it's not always going to be this. The economy is not always going to be booming. Yeah. Because when I started my business, it was starting. And did I learn that from him telling me? Not really. But did I learn from experiencing it? Yes. Yeah. So sometimes it's that experience. You're like, wow, that's valuable. So now this recession that's here or coming, it's like, okay, I've been through one.
This one's kind of fun. We don't know if we're in it or if it's coming.
I don't even know what to think. Right.
I don't even care.
Because even in housing, like there was like 20,000 homes on the market in Maricopa County, which in Phoenix. And it went down to like 16,000. It doesn't make any sense. I think because the interest rates kind of, where I'm expecting it to go to 19,000, 20,000, 25,000, 30,000. And now it's gone back down by 3,000 homes in like 2 weeks, which is, it's unheard of. Yeah. And so it's like, I thought we were in a recession. What the hell? Like, so again, but it's because I'm not over leveraged. I'm like, well, we'll see.
Right.
Yeah, we'll see. Because they're going to be good buying opportunities, or if they still stay good, then we'll just keep doing what we're doing.
One thing we talked about in our mastermind up at Bear Lake, right? Yeah. Is the feeling that how do we explain this? That you feel like you always have to be doing something, right? And if you're not at work, you feel like you're failing at something or something's going to fall through. When you're like at your house at like 10 o'clock in the morning, you're like, having a cup of coffee with your wife on the porch, right? It's like, it's hard to beat that feeling out of you.
I know. I think because you go so hard for so long. Yeah. Right. And then all of a sudden you're like, what? It's 3 o'clock, 2:30. I'm home. Yeah. I'm having a cigar out on the patio. I'm like, shit, should I be doing something? Like, and it's so nice. I love it. Yeah. Right. But I'm also like, is there something else more important I should be doing? Yeah. But my wife loves it. She's like, I love to see you just out there taking time for yourself. Cause that's not something I ever did. Yeah. I would work my guts out and then try to be home and with the wife and kids. That was my life for 20 years.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm working on is taking time for myself. Yeah. Like getting fit, like doing some yoga. Actually, I like hot yoga.
I can't wait to see you in Downward Dog, dude.
That's my favorite one. Actually, I'm going to take a break for a second and just sweat here.
Mine's
you guys keep flowing.
Where you lay on your back and just rest. Shavasana. That's what it's called.
Yeah, there you go. Dude, namaste, my friend. Yeah. Dude, it's like, I know it's funny, right? Like, especially a guy like me, man, doing yoga. I'm so freaking huge at that. Like all these little tiny
Plus,
chicks.
You love to sweat.
Oh,
you love to sweat.
Yeah, one day I go off my body. It's like, one thing I think is funny about my body, right? And we were joking about this earlier, is it's like, why are we storing food, guys? I've never missed a meal in my life. I know our ancestors 1 billion years ago were like having a hard time finding rabbits to eat. Why the hell are we storing 9 months worth of food?
On our bodies?
Makes no sense.
Yeah, F you, body.
You're making me look ugly.
Yeah, I've proven to my body that they don't need to store fat.
Exactly.
But it still does.
We have never missed more than 3 days, ever, ever. And there's been snacks in there.
That's so true. It's so true. But yeah, I mean, taking time, I think that's probably another big valuable thing I've done the last year or two. It's just like work out in the morning, you know, try to get back into a physical shape that you feel good, eat better, and then just be more present.
Yeah, put good food in your body.
Yeah.
It's a big difference, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
When you're busy, like that's what people don't get. It's like, yeah, I'm running here to here. I'm going to grab a Wendy's because I'm so hungry. I don't want to yell at the client.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
Well, no, I mean, especially in my business, like I was on the road and driving all day. So it was fast food all the time.
all the time.
And you're just like, it's cheap and it's easy. And then you're like, oh shit, I'm fat.
Yeah. And I don't feel good. That stuff does not feel good.
Yeah.
I went for, Michelle she does bodybuilding shows, you know, back in the day, right?
Who, Juicy?
Juicy does, yeah. Oh, yeah. And she, one of the times for like 3-4 months, I did the exact same thing she did. I got real fit. Yeah. And then after a competition, we went and had pizza, and I could not eat it because it was so salty.
Really?
Yeah, we had like cut salt out and like all sorts of stuff. Huh. And it was wild, you know? And now, and I think about that all the time because I'm like, oh, this food tastes good again.
Oh, it tastes great.
Means I'm fat. Or I'm not eating healthy stuff. You know, but, you know, and sometimes we'll go on like, you know, nice vacations, you know, stay at the Four Seasons or whatever. You know, you're eating like fruit and like all this stuff the whole time. I'm like, man, this feels good.
Yeah.
I have fiber in my body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my wife, you know, when she first got cancer, she started down this eating different, you know, because she got surgery on her stomach and couldn't eat the same things like she used to. And she's kind of helped all of us try to be a little more conscious of what we eat, a little more healthy.
Is she gentle with it, or is she kind of forcing that down?
No, she doesn't force a damn thing.
Yeah, that's good.
Because she still likes like a bite of a cookie.
Yeah.
If she's going to have a cookie, she's like, oh, I'll just have a bite. I'm like, who the hell can just have one bite? Because if I'm going to have a cookie, I'm going to fucking have a cookie. Yeah. And probably 4 or 5 of them.
Well, it's funny when Angie ordered those cookies last night. So I'm not eating candy or desserts for the rest of the year. I might do it for the rest of my life, but I got to put a time on it so it doesn't seem overwhelming.
So, yeah.
But like every time I pass those box of cookies, I was like, why do we have 37 cookies in here from freaking Crumble? Are you tempting me?
And I think they were all still in the box.
Oh,
but that's the thing. My wife will say, hey, go get me one of those. By one, she means break a piece off of it.
Yeah.
And so that's why she's able to stay looking good all the time. Me, it's like, oh, if I'm going to have a cookie, I'm going to have one.
Yeah.
I'm not going to have a bite.
Oh, yeah.
So I just can't. I just have to say, no, I'm not having a cookie.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, my friend, thanks for coming on the podcast, dude.
Yeah, man.
I want you to give, so I have all my guests give 2 minutes of their best advice.
Damn.
To the general public or to your kids.
Let's see here. Okay. Best advice. I would say, let's just say I'm going to tell my kids. It's easier. I would say enjoy life. You know, find a person you can love, create a beautiful life together, and just enjoy it every moment. You know, we all get so busy where, you know, I feel like the 20 years that I built my business is just a blur, right? It's just like I woke up one day, I was like, holy shit, 20 years has gone by. And so I would say, if possible, be a little more, you know, let's be more present and take the time to just enjoy your kids when they're little, enjoy them when they're older. It's just like, life can be awesome, and it is. Life's awesome, but we just, you know, just be intentional and create the life that you want. And with the help of my wife, I feel like we've really done that. And especially these last few years, it's really nice to enjoy that. You know, you always think, if I can just get to like making $100,000. I remember thinking, when I was working at that Pete's Fish and Chips, like one of my first jobs after my mission, there was an opportunity there where when you become manager, you make $80,000 a year. And I was like, holy shit. If I can stay here long enough and become a manager, I can make $80,000 a year. And I remember just coming home to my wife saying, babe, this is what I'm going to do. Right. And well, that didn't last like 5 months and I was already off doing something else, but that you think you're going to get to this point and then you'll be able to enjoy something. Oh, if I can make $80,000 a year, if I can make 100, if I can make 200, if I can make $500,000 a year. And the truth of it is, yes, money is great. And it allows you to have these awesome experiences. But the feeling that you think you're going to have when you reach that goal, it's not there. You feel the exact same. Right. And so it's like, all right, figure out how to just be happy as you're moving forward. Like go to that 500 grand a year, go to the $1 million a year or whatever you want to do, but make sure you're present enough to like enjoy that process, because the feeling of it when you get to that $1 million or whatever that goal is, you're in it for like about 10 seconds. You're like, wow, that's cool. And you're like, oh shit, I feel the same. And not bad. You're just like, there's nothing changed. Nothing changed except, I made $1 million this year or whatever. Yeah. And so for me, it was like, still create that, right? Do that. If you want to go make a bunch of money, do it. But like the feeling, you got to learn how to be happy in the process, whether you're broke, whether you got $1 million, whether you got 10 million, 100 million, whatever it is just learn to enjoy that phase of life, even the struggle. Cause we've had tons of struggles in our marriage. I mean, just like with my wife being sick or being broke, or in 2008, almost losing everything. And I felt like I probably could have slowed down and even enjoyed that a little better, instead of just like, let's just get through it. I want to get to that and not really be present on where we were. Yeah. So
awesome.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, man.
Okay, man.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Love you, buddy.
Love you too.
Thanks for listening to the President McCormack Podcast, brought to you by McCormack Foundation, Saxton Fund, ADP Lemco, and Professional Floor Systems. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast and keep up with Mark on Instagram @President McCormack.